Second time's a charm. Hello everyone, I'm Karli.
And I'm Julia.
And we're the sisters behind Trove Desserts. And today we're going to be talking about why we decided to basically shut down the bakery side of our business.
So where do we begin? We started Trove together, both of us, and Karli's husband Clay has been heavily involved. We basically started our company kind of at the beginning of COVID. We had always talked about starting a bakery, and it's always been a passion that we wanted to pursue, but we never really had the opportunity to.
So we started out right here at my parents' kitchen in December, and quickly we moved into a commercial kitchen in Vancouver, shared with another business. And this worked for quite some time, and it allowed us to grow. We were there for 2 days a week. But eventually we really outgrew that space. We needed way more time to create stuff in the kitchen. So we then moved to a commissary and then again to another shared kitchen. So we've now moved 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
It's gotten busier and busier as we have kind of moved from one spot to the next, requiring more space and more time.
So at our most recent kind of commissary, we'll call it a commissary. It's kind of a little shared kitchen space. There's a little storefront in there, so we were able to sell kind of packaged treats and test different things out with our business in that location. Eventually we knew like kind of the next step for us would be to actually find our own place. Just because we keep bouncing around kind of from kitchen to kitchen, a little bit bigger, and we kind of just thought, we need a space that's actually bigger that we can invest in
and really grow in for a while.
We went around and checked out multiple places.
January 2023, I think that's kind of when we really started looking. We had a few places that we actually tried putting offers on. We didn't end up getting them. That was very disappointing at the time because we really saw ourselves in those spaces.
It was a fun process, but also hard because you kind of do get really excited. We kind of created a little vision board almost of what these spaces would look like. Envision the awning and what the front door would look like. And you really, as you're walking in, you really have to map out how would our bakery look in this space. Yeah, you kind of put a little bit of your heart into it and obviously hope for the best. Nothing really ended up working out for us, which is it was very disappointing, but also kind of a sign. We're okay, well, this isn't the place. Let's keep an eye open for the next place. We're kind of very open to if it's not for us, it's not going to happen basically. So let's just move on and go to the next thing, right? So I think that's kind of been our mentality.
While we're on our search for finding the perfect space, we're also just plugging away and doing all the operations and the baking side of the business. We're spending long days in the kitchen, and it's tough because, for starters, I'm a new mom with a 10-month-old baby, and my husband's at home with her, which I'm very thankful for, but this has not really allowed me to spend as much time as I want with her, and it sucks, to be honest. It makes me feel bad. I don't want to be spending full-time hours or even more than full-time hours in the kitchen away from her, especially in these kind of pivotal years, or pivotal first year.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just plays on my mind through this time, and not being sure on where I'm gonna go. And when my husband goes back to work, which he will go back to work in September, what the plan is going to be. So it leaves me feeling big questions on how this is even going to work. If we're going to get into our own kitchen, what do I do? We're going to need to be very hands-on for setting up a full-on business that we run. So all these questions kind of are piling up in my mind. From the get-go, we've taken very, very minimal salaries because most of the money is staying within the business or getting reinvested somehow. So it is also hard because we've been at this for 2.5 years and are kind of at the point that it's we need to start making more money personally. That is also a big factor for us. When we kind of really delved into our feelings about all of this stuff, we put a pause on searching for a space and just thought, let's just keep going, keep baking, and kind of figure out where we're at personally and mentally with this thing. So that's basically what we did.
It's also a challenge as well because it's just the two of us in the kitchen pretty much for the most part. So
Yeah.
obviously when Karli first had her baby, then it was mostly me in the kitchen. It was a lot of work for one person. Like I worked probably like 7 days a week. The balance of emotions is tricky because it's like obviously I'm happy for her and I want her to spend as much time with her baby. But then it's also I'm feeling really bogged down about the amount of work that I'm taking on. I also don't want to like just do it kind of alone. I want to do it together.
And I know one of the questions that's probably going to come up is like, why didn't you guys just hire someone to help? And we have tried hiring before. We hired someone at Christmas, which was great.
Yeah.
Like we needed the help. Christmas is by far the busiest time of the year. And at the end of the day, hiring is just so expensive. So in previous years at Christmas time, we would be working like 16-hour days pretty much every single day in the month of December. And it's so tiring, such hard work. And we knew that that wasn't going to be attainable, especially for me this upcoming year because I have this little one at home. So we hire someone. When you're comparing numbers from this year to the past year that we were kind of working like crazy, your profits are greatly impacted just because of the amount of money that you need to invest in hiring, which makes sense, but it makes it really tricky. And that's at Christmas time. It makes it really tricky during the rest of the year. That's kind of why we decided not to hire and kind of keep it smaller, not taking on quite as much, but just trying to be able to manage it between the two of us. We created so many efficiencies, but it still was the problem on you're trying to grow, but are you really capable of growing without having a big team of people? And now can you afford a big team of people? It's kind of like this cyclical thing that you need the staff, but you don't have the money for the staff. And you need to grow, but you can't grow without the staff. It's just, it's one of those hard things.
But we're just continuing to work, not really sure where we're going to go next, keeping our eyes open for kitchen. I had an old professor of mine that taught me some marketing classes in college. He ended up finding out that me and Karli have this bakery. We actually were able to go to him for advice and basically really advised us that the next step would be to actually have a storefront and really get people like walking in and having walk-in sales.
Which honestly was very validating to see someone who knows quite a lot about business and who's started many successful businesses and look and say, what you have is really good and you've proven your market and people like your product. And he was very encouraging us to push forward and to get into that space so that we can have the retail bakery ourselves.
He actually did offer us to be an angel investor in our business, which was beyond anything we would obviously expect. So it was incredibly generous and kind of him, but he was saying basically if you guys need a little bit of help kind of getting into a new kitchen, he'd be willing to invest a little bit of money in our business and just to help us kind of move forward.
So while we had this offer on the table, we continued to look for spaces. My husband Clay kind of got even more detailed with running numbers and different financial scenarios. And all the options were on the table with what we could do, whether it was completely closing Trove or jumping into a kitchen, our own kitchen, starting a bakery, continuing what we're doing exactly, hiring people, like all the options were there. We really took a lot of time to reflect and figure out what it is that we wanted out of this company and what it is that we wanted personally. And the thing that I kept coming back to was I want Trove to be a bakery so bad. That's the goal, that's the vision. But I kept coming back to the fact that my husband was going to be back at work in the fall, and I don't want my baby in full-time daycare. I want to be more involved than I have been because I feel like I'm missing out on so much. So I know what my time ability will be in this new space, and I just kept thinking, like, if I'm not able to give it my 100%, then I just don't see that it's going to be working well, because Julia cannot, like, mentally, physically, everything, do it all on her own either. And all of that aside, starting a bakery, it's going to be a lot of hard years and a lot of hard financial years before we're actually, like, seeing it all come to fruition. Yeah. We ran several financial models and we kind of saw, like, okay, this will take several years before we're really running a profit.
Yeah.
And could even get to the point where we are paying ourselves fair salaries. And because we've already been doing it for 2.5 years like this, being on that timeline where now you're extending it for maybe another 3 or 5 years till you're able to really make money from it, I think we drew back a little bit and thought, you know what, I just don't know if right now is the time for this.
Which is really hard because obviously, like we were saying, we're, you know, in the process of looking at these kitchens, and we're like multiple times we put offers on places, right? So we were ready to dive in, but yeah, things didn't work out, and there's little bumps in the road. It was a big roller coaster, I feel like, of like, oh, it's going, like, we're gonna move on, and then it's like, no, it's not going. Coming kind of to this conclusion after taking a step back and looking at everything, kind of realizing, like, maybe just now is not the time. Is not the time, which is really hard to say.
It was hard.
And it took a ton of conversations and back and forth, and we were thinking, like, how can we make this happen still? How can we still bake and provide desserts to you guys, because we know that we have some really big fans. We felt like it's like a heavy decision because we know we're so, like, thankful for the support that we've received so far, and we know that in changing our business, we're going to let people down. So that's really hard, especially when we've worked so hard to grow that following and those dedicated customers. It definitely took a lot of thought, and we went back and forth multiple times on, like, is there certain things that we can do to keep the baking going? We took a look at what if we just did it part-time, or could we possibly do some baking at home where we can take on maybe custom cake orders. That's not an option in BC because there's a bunch of restrictions with Fraser Health. So we kind of felt like we kept trying to come back to, like, how can we make the baking happen, and just, like, I felt like every door was kind of just, like, closed. That's kind of how we came to the decision, like, okay, I think the end of June basically we need to take a step back and take some time off baking.
So I guess the next question from here is, where are we going now, and what are we doing with Trove? We definitely want to be keeping Trove Desserts alive in any way that we can. So we're going to be keeping our social channels open and posting on Instagram, and we're also starting this YouTube channel to hopefully just keep it going and share recipes, share tips, share all the stuff that we've learned, and just a little bit more about us. We are excited for this new path. We hope to keep this channel alive so that if we ever do decide that we have better timing and capabilities of starting our dream bakery, that we can and will do that in the future.
So we just want to end by saying thank you so much to everyone that has supported our business in any way.
Your support has been everything to us. We are so appreciative of it.
If you want to continue to support us, a few things that would be super helpful would be basically subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our videos, comment on our videos, watch the video all the way through. That would really help us, especially as we're just getting started with this channel. So if you want to support us in that way, that would be amazing. Otherwise, definitely subscribe to our email, because we'll be releasing newsletters on when we have new videos or when we have recipes that we're going to be uploading to our website. If you do have any questions or have any comments, anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can leave us a comment under this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.